Yo, before you scroll, Indiana Fever front office just handed Caitlin Clark a roster built to fail. And today I'm breaking down exactly how bad it really is. So stick around, because this one's gonna make you mad. Man, listen, I need somebody to explain to me what in the world is going on in Indianapolis right now. Because from where I'm sitting, this front office is running one of the most confusing operations I've seen in this league in years. Where is Amber Cox? Somebody find her. Somebody put a microphone in front of her and ask her what the plan actually is, because right now it looks like there is no plan. You draft a 5'9" point guard with a top 10 pick when everybody and their mama could see this roster needed size, needed length, needed somebody who could bang in the paint. And now here we are, months later, watching the results of that decision play out in real time. And it is not pretty. Let's talk about this Dantis situation for a second, because this is where it gets even more insane. The lady goes down, done for the season, torn meniscus, surgery, the whole nine. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate an injury. I don't wish that on anybody. That's not who I am. But I also am not gonna pretend like I'm devastated that she's not gonna be logging more minutes. Because let's be real with each other. She was not helping this team win basketball games. She wasn't stretching the floor the way they claim. She wasn't moving the way she needed to move. And every single time she stepped on the court, it felt like the offense got worse, not better. So now the front office is sitting there talking about how they're going to evaluate her recovery before deciding what happens next. What is there to evaluate? The season is going one direction and one direction only if you don't act, and that direction is nowhere. And this is exactly why the Justine Pat trade still has me heated every single time I think about it. You take a 6'4" sniper, a young wing who can actually shoot the rock and defend multiple positions, and you ship her out for an aging piece that can't stay on the floor. I don't care how good she is in the locker room. I don't care if she's the funniest person on every road trip, if she's running spades tournaments in the hotel, if she's the glue guy everybody loves. None of that matters if she can't produce when the lights are on. You are not building a championship roster around vibes. You are building it around production, around size, around two-way players who can actually help Caitlin Clark win basketball games right now, this season, not 3 years from now. And the front office let that opportunity walk right out the door. So my question is simple. Are you trying to win with Caitlin Clark, or are you not? Because if the answer is yes, if you actually believe this window is real and it's happening right now, then you have to make a move. You release Dantis. Yes, she loses out on some money. I understand that's real for her personally. But this is a business. This is professional sports, and the front office's job is not to protect one player's paycheck. It's to put the best possible group around your franchise cornerstone. You open up a roster spot, you go find somebody who can actually contribute, and you stop wasting minutes and cap space on a player who isn't moving the needle. Now let's get into the coaching side of this, because Stephanie White is supposedly this big defensive mind, right? Brought in with all this pedigree, paired up with Brianne January, who's supposed to know the game inside and out. So somebody explain to me why this defense looks like a mess almost every single night. Against Minnesota, we watched Olivia Miles cook this team for 23 points in a single half before anybody decided to send extra pressure her way. 23 points in a half before you make an adjustment? That's not coaching, that's reacting way too late. The guards were icing ball screens. Fine, that's a scheme, I get it. But if you don't have a big who can actually contain dribble penetration behind that coverage, the whole thing falls apart. And that's exactly what kept happening possession after possession. And listen, I heard the post-game answers. I heard the talk about consistency, about controlling what you can control, about growing throughout the course of a series. That's coach speak. That's what you say when you don't have a real answer. I want to see actual adjustments. I want to see a zone mixed in to throw a rhythm off. I want to see different coverages depending on who's out there. Instead, the only real change I've noticed all year is that they finally stopped switching 1 through 5 on every single possession, which was a problem from day one that should have never happened in the first place. Stopping a bad habit isn't the same thing as building a good defense. I don't see it. I'm watching every night and I don't see it. And the timing could not be worse, because look at the schedule coming up. You just got done with a tough stretch against the Lynx, and now you've got the Aces on deck, one of the most talented rosters top to bottom in this entire league. And right behind them you've got Paige Bueckers and that Dallas group building momentum every single week. This is not the time to be figuring things out on the fly. This is the time where every possession matters, where a lapse on defense turns into a loss that costs you playoff positioning. The margin for error just shrunk dramatically, and this front office still hasn't given the locker room the tools to compete at that level. Now, to be fair, I did see they brought in a post player to the development squad, somebody with good length, good wingspan, still growing her game after college, getting reps against the roster every day in practice. That's fine, that's a depth move, that's a nice story for down the line, but that is not the answer to the size problem you have right now on an active roster during a playoff push. You don't fix a present tense problem with a development squad signing. That's a band-aid, not a solution. And you hear the players talk about staying locked in, controlling what they can control, trying to insulate the locker room from all the outside noise. I respect that. I do. That's the right mentality for a player to have. You can't control the front office. You can't control the coaching staff's decisions. All you can control is your effort every single night. But that mentality only takes a team so far when the structure around them isn't giving them a real chance. You can have the best attitude in the world in that locker room, and I believe they do. I believe this is a group that's pulled together through a lot this season. But attitude does not guarantee you stops on defense, and it does not guarantee you size in the paint, and it does not bring back a 6'4" shooter you already traded away. So here's where I land on all of this. Amber Cox has to answer for this roster construction. A top 10 pick spent on a small guard when the front court was screaming for help. That decision is looking worse by the week. Stephanie White has to answer for a defense that has shown almost no real evolution outside of stopping one bad habit. And the front office as a whole has to answer for doing absolutely nothing at the trade deadline, while a contending roster sat there needing help. You had a season with Caitlin Clark healthy and playing at a high level. You had a real opportunity to build around her. And instead you're heading into the toughest stretch of the schedule with a thinner roster than you started with and a coaching staff that hasn't proven it can adjust on the fly. The Indiana Fever front office needs to wake up, and they need to wake up fast, because this window with Caitlin Clark does not stay open forever. Every year you waste figuring things out is a year you don't get back. Release the dead weight. Go find real size. Give your coaching staff actual pieces to work with, and start treating every single game like it matters, because right now, from what I'm watching, it does not look like that urgency exists in that building. Alright, that's my breakdown. That's where I stand on this whole situation. Amber Cox, Stephanie White, the Dantis injury, the Justine Pat trade, all of it. Drop your take down in the comments. Tell me if you agree, or if you think I'm being too hard on this front office, and I'll see you in the next one.